to get into, because I definitely want the audience to hear it too. I think we're live now. And hey guys, how you doing? I got my good friend Dr. Renae with me, and we're gonna be doing. She's gonna be doing some readings for you guys, but we're gonna get into it. We're gonna play the intro and get started, and then it's gonna be an amazing show. So I hope you all enjoy it. Okay, that played well. Hopefully it doesn't loop over and over again. And I just always hit the subscribe thing, guys. So to remind everybody to subscribe, like, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Rumble, please subscribe, because it helps more than you can imagine. You know what I mean? It does help. It does, So with all that said, my guest today is Dr. Renae Nagle. She's amazing. Dr. Renae is a certified hypnotherapist, EMDR therapist, and clinical psychotherapist with a profound background in spiritual counseling and metaphysics. She studied at the Brotherhood of the White Temple, Aurora University, and EMDR Institute in California, blending modern therapeutic techniques with ancient wisdom traditions. With expertise in hypnosis, trauma recovery, and metaphysical healing, Dr. Nagle guides others in assessing higher consciousness and aligning with their soul's purpose. Tonight, Dr. Nagle will be channeling Archangel Metatron through powerful tarot readings, offering guidance and insight for the live audience. So in this episode, you can expect live Archangel Metatron tarot readings. You can ask your questions in the chat. You can donate. And, I always try to pay the psychics. So I'd like to pay Dr. Renae at the end of the night. So the more you donate, it'll go to both me and her. You should be using Metatron's energy for spiritual alignment and healing. EMDR therapy and hypnotherapy we'll talk about, blending psychology, metaphysics, and spiritual counseling for true transformation. And, just a disclaimer, we're not trying to give medical advice. I mean, I have to say that for YouTube purposes, because they'll take the video down, and we're not trying to diagnose anything. Always come to your own conclusions, use discernment, and see a license. But Dr. Renae is a licensed doctor. So, Dr. Renae, thank you so much for coming back on. How are you?
I'm really good, Robin. Thank you again for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm navigating the changing dynamics of the energy in the world, just like everybody is right now. And
I agree.
We're all trying to shift through this process, and it's not been easy for anyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah. One thing that we were talking about before the show is the targeting, and you said you saw a really good thing on Candace Owens with an ex-CIA guy. Did you want to talk about that real quick? Like that, I thought that'd be something the audience would want to hear before we get into the readings and stuff.
Right. Well, I've been a fan of your podcast for quite some time, and I've listened to a lot of your people that you've interviewed. And the one running theme that I've heard in the last several years is that people are being severely targeted. And it's caused a lot of disruption. And people are asking questions, well, why is this happening? Who's doing this? How can we prevent it? And I have a really good colleague that I used to work with, and she directed me to a podcaster by the name of Candace Owens, who does regular podcasts, and she interviews the most dynamic people that can address this issue of targeting. And recently, I did forward you 2 videos and 2 links through YouTube from Candace Owens' YouTube podcast. She was interviewing a person named Kevin Shipp, SHIPP, who was a longtime CIA agent. And he was talking about all the ins and outs of targeting, assassinations, and how the covert operations of the CIA deal with everything from, MyLab issues to SSP issues, and how they've been allowed to basically, manipulate those of us who are trying to educate the general public about what's really going on today, not just in our country, but in the world. And if you go to her site, Candace Owens' YouTube site, it would behoove everyone to really watch both videos, because this man is legitimate. He's written several books that you can find, whether it's on Amazon or eBay or Etsy, before they're maybe out of print. And he actually names names, and he gives specifics, and he really explains why those of us who are trying to help others to elevate this planet, to shift the timelines, to raise our vibrational frequencies, why they don't want us to, because they want their power. When they're in power, they have control over those of us, and they manipulate facts. And when I was listening to the video again, because I have listened to it before, they basically said that 9/11 was all a ruse, that there were no airplane parts that they ever found, that it was basically missiles that went through the buildings, and everything to the JFK assassination, to MLK assassinated, to a lot of the wars that they've started, even all the way back to Pearl Harbor, which was very interesting to me, how these organizations, or this organization, covertly sets these things up so they can pull us into these conflicts or wars and justify it. And oftentimes what they do is they single out a fall guy, a scapegoat, blame that person, set things up so it seems like on the news what you're seeing is the truth, when it's really, entertainment to get us to believe what they're showing us is true. So you don't have to believe what I'm saying. Just go to YouTube, get on the site, look up Kevin Ship. I think you can probably find him. He has his own websites and Instagram and that sort of thing. But he's legitimate. And of course, when they want to shut whistleblowers up, they say that we're kooks, that we're, unstable. And we all know that that's not true. We can't all possibly be unstable, right? You can't have several degrees and licenses and practice in psychology like I have for years and be unstable, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have your license any longer. But I did want to share that with your general audience because I know a lot of your audience is being targeted, has been targeted. And, at least if you know where it's coming from, then you'll know that at some point, the light will win. It's just a matter of we have to stand up to it. And what's happening in our country, not just in the world right now, but in our country, it's happening everywhere. That freedoms are being targeted, that people who tell the truth and want us to have better lives are being targeted. That's just the way it is, because they don't want us to evolve on this planet. However, if you continue to work on yourself and elevate your consciousness spiritually to a vibrational frequency that is of a higher vibration, then eventually the planet will shift the timeline to a better place, and we can get rid of all these bad actors, as I like to call them, who murder and rape and do sex trafficking, and all the chaos that you're seeing now. As far as the Epstein files and that sort of thing, this was all meant to come out anyway, because until we can elevate and get to a higher vibrational frequency, it's kind of like you have to have all the dross come to the surface, right? So you can see it. And then once you know what the issue is, then you can find a solution, right, to navigate through it. And that then elevates the consciousness for the entire planet, because we're no longer asleep. We're awake. We see what's going on. We know what's happening, and we go, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. We're all going to stick together and work together so we can get through this and navigate our consciousness. These timelines have been shifting. Now we're going to be approaching August the 8th. It's called the Lion's Gate. It's an energetic portal where more energies will be coming into the planet. But over August and September, I really hate to say this, but it's going to get even more chaotic than we've already seen it. But again, the chaos has to occur so that it can come to the surface, so we can clear it and cleanse it, not only out of our energy fields, but out of our belief systems, the way we think about our lives. We're sovereign beings. We're meant to be free and self-actualize and have, happy and joyous lives. We're not meant to be depressed and anxious and fearful, because that's how the powers that be control us. And so when we realize how powerful we are, and we take our power back and we stand up to that, then we win. And eventually the planet is shifting in that direction. Can I give you a timeline? No, but it's already been happening for so many years. And the more chaos that you see, just know that the more chaos that you see, it has to come up so it can be cleared, so we can continue to elevate our consciousness, elevate our vibrational frequency, and then move beyond this limiting 3D dimensional belief structure that keeps us in, whether you want to call it a matrix or an AI type of thing, whatever it is. We weren't meant to be in this frequency. We were meant to elevate into a higher dimensional energetic consciousness. So, and part of what I'm doing today is just a little bit of education. And, you know, you can do your homework, you know, do your own work. There are a lot of people out there who are energetically working on raising the consciousness of the planet. They're working on clearing the ley lines, the grids, so we can elevate that part of our energy in on our planet. There are a lot of people out there who are working on this right now. And for those of you who are questioning, you know, you're being stuck somewhere, okay, just know that it's a temporary thing. Focus on what you want to see manifesting in your life, and every day move one step into that direction. And whatever chaos you see going on around you, don't engage with it, because when you do, you feed into that energy, that belief system, that template. You don't want to do that. Focus on what you want to manifest positively. Yes, life right now is very stressful for all of us, okay? But again, that's what they want us to do. They want us to get pulled down into the lower vibrational fear-based frequency, because when they do that, then they can control us. So that's my pep talk today.
It seems like this whole system is set up from the government to like county government to even some local police as some like Luciferian brotherhood that sticks up for pedophiles. Honestly, that's what it seems like. You know, and I know that's going a little bit of conspiracy, but that's what it seems like when you do the research. You know,
well,
I don't know.
Well, if you did any research with things like the Rockefellers and those who had the money going in our country many, many years ago, you know, they set these systems up, including the banking systems, so that they could monopolize the money systems, which then can control what? Everything else, right? And so the biggest crooks are on Wall Street. So, you know, I mean, it's real. It's like anybody who has eyes and looks to see, you can see that this has been going on for many generations, in not only this country, but worldwide. And so the best thing we can do is what I said. You need to focus on what you would like to manifest for a better world for yourself and your family and your children. And this chaotic stuff that you might see going on in the news, whatever it is, look away. I know you want to know what's going on. Fine, if that's what you need to do. But understand that a lot of it's propaganda. It's hypnosis on television, okay? It's to control our minds. It's to set us up in a fear-based mentality, and that drops your frequency. And then they have more power and control over you because you're in fear. There's only two energies in the universe. There's fear and there's love. Which one do you want to elevate, and which one do you want to vibrate in? Is it an easy thing to do every day? No. I get up every day and I have to do what? I have to focus on what I want to be as far as my energy levels, because if I focus too much on what I'm seeing out there around me, it drops my vibrational frequency, and then they win again. They take the power away from us. You know, we're more powerful than they are.
I agree. I agree 100%.
But because we've been allowed, like little sheep, to follow what they're telling us and believe everything they show us and say, that's what we've then ended up with, right? So you need to continue to remind yourself that all the frequencies of the God consciousness, the creator consciousness, Buddha consciousness, whatever you believe in from the light, that's who you are made of, not this chaos, this 3D energy, these belief systems of fear-based structures that they try to throw at us every day in every way possible, whether it's through bureaucratic red tape, whether it's through the psychodynamic therapeutic community, whether it's through big pharma or the government. They have their program running. And if you buy into it, then that's what you will be continuing to experience. And is it easy every day to deal with this? No, because it's a conscious decision every day that you get up where you focus your belief system and your energy. So belief systems, energy follows your thought, right? So if your thoughts are of that energy and that's your belief system, that's what you're going to manifest. So it's like doing Tai Chi or, meditating or going out for a run or a walk every day. If you do it consistently every day, it becomes a habit, right? And as it becomes a habit, it becomes more natural in your energetic frequency. And then when you start seeing all the other stuff that's happening around you, you go, well, that's just BS. That's just so they can control us. And then they can't. And when they can't control you anymore, it continues to elevate the consciousness of this planet. And the more of us that elevate our own personal consciousness, one day they're going to be gone. That timeline will be over and we will gain back our planet. And all of us have the ability to do it. All of us have the ability to do it, but you have to work at it every day, And again, it's consistency and belief. So I hopefully I didn't go too off track with that, but I just felt like everybody out there needs a little bit of a reminder of how powerful you really are, and to not buy their belief systems, because their belief systems are what kills us, literally.
Yeah.
And we're better than that. Human beings, we have been given the emotional and psychological capacity to elevate not just ourselves, but the planet. And we can live in a place that's a much better place to live. It may not be utopia, but it'll be a hell of a lot better if we just change the way our belief structures are and stop buying into the subconscious subterfuge and the hypnosis that they've continued to put us into for many, many, many millennia. And it's just gotten worse in the last 10 years. And and by the way, take care of your immune systems. Eat better, right? Get better sleep, hydrate your body, and move your body so that your immune systems can function and manage stress better, because you never know what they're going to try to pull next.
Yeah, and what about like stuff like taking supplements for like free radicals, and the stuff for like antioxidants? Is that really good as well?
Well, I guess you have to go by case basis for people. If you have had your testing done, whether it's blood or urine or whatever the analysis that you might go through, liver functioning tests, you can have all those things tested, through licensed providers that actually know what to test you for. And then when you're accurately assessed, then you can put together a treatment plan and know the right things to take. But because we're so stressed out all the time, most people's cortisol levels are spiked out of, control.
Yeah.
And when your cortisol levels are spiked, it interferes with everything from sleep to your digestive system to your immune system. And so if you don't know how to balance your stress levels out, and you don't consistently do that every day, then those organ systems in your body, they're going to start to become symptomatic. So it's really important to find a holistic provider and somebody who can do some accurate testing, because there's so many products out there. It's all hit or miss, Rob. Who knows what works, right?
Yeah.
People spend a lot of money on products and supplements that haven't been researched, R&D, or there's any real studies that may go through with some of those things. But at the same time, there are a lot of holistic providers out there who know what they're doing and who would take the time to do your testing and assessment, so that you go, oh, now I understand maybe why my gut is not digesting my food properly and why I feel exhausted, right? So hopefully that answer. There's so much that I could say about that, but we only have an hour program, and I want to make sure that if you have, people that want readings, we can get to them before your 8 o'clock.
Well, yeah, and I got to run upstairs. My aunt's here. She's bringing. I told Renae before the show, my aunt's dropping off some food real quick, but I'll be right back, guys. I'll pull up the first reading. The first one's from Anchor Haven, and guys, if you want to donate, you can donate. It's always in the description. Let me read Anchor Haven's message real quick, and then you guys can get started, and I'll be right back. She says, reading and healing. She says, this is Julia Anchor Haven. She has her own pod. She comes on my show. You probably saw her on my show before.
So her birth name is Julia?
Yeah, her birth name is Julia, and it goes by Anchor Haven. Yeah.
And also, too, just to let her know, Julia, I did hear from my guides that I could bring my goddess cards from Colette Baron Reed. And then I also have the Archangel Metatron cards. But if you have a specific question, then energetically I can hone in on that. And I can see what comes up. Is there a question, Julia? I don't see anything yet. I might have to wait for him to come back. I don't see a question. So I'll talk a little bit about the goddess frequency of the divine feminine. So both men and women have what are called masculine and feminine traits and vibrate to those frequencies. And depending on your life circumstances, those can get blocked and can prevent you maybe from manifesting, whether it's a relationship or something in your life that's been important to you. And so oftentimes what I'll say to people is the right and the left brain, you have masculine and feminine energy, right and left brain consciousness. And so when you have moved through some of your issues, whatever those blockages might be, you start to balance the energy in the right and left cortex of the brain. And then it's kind of like it goes into like a crisscross in the brain itself and starts to balance your masculine and feminine energies. And if you're feeling stuck, oftentimes what I've done with my clients is I might recommend some hypnosis where I can guide them into that higher state of consciousness while they're in a peaceful trance. And then they can see where the blockages may have occurred, whether it's this lifetime or another time and place. And as far as, that sort of work goes with regression work, I don't tell a person where to go. I just do the therapeutic trance-like induction, and then they'll go naturally to where their higher self needs to take them, their subconscious mind. And then they'll navigate through that time or place, and then they'll kind of see what the blockage is, where it started, who was involved in it, if it has any relation to the personnel. Now, I asked her for a question, but I didn't see anything come up. So, because you're not there, the computer. Can you see if there's a...
What was your question? It was she said, let me see. She might not be in the audience right now. She might watch this later. It's late. She's across the pond. She lives in London, so she might be sleeping right now. I'm not sure, because she didn't respond, so I think she may be asleep. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I was talking a bit about the masculine and feminine parts of the cortex in the brain, and how when you're doing hypnotic regressions or hypnosis in general, that it's it's a much lighter process to get to a point if you have any blockages with that sort of issue with your divine masculine, divine feminine energies, because everyone has that specific energy in both the right and the left cortex of the brain. It's just women have more of an emotional bent in that part of the brain than men. Doesn't mean men don't have it. It's just that sometimes due to maybe traumas in your life or a past life issue, it might be a blockage to prevent you from kind of integrating that part of yourself. But we all have the capacity to do that. Anyway,
Oh,
so
she's
there
here.
some?
I put the comment up on the screen. She's not asleep. She said general reading, please. She said.
Well, again, is there a specific question? Because I would appreciate that. It would just help me hone in on the energy of her.
Oh yeah, okay, Julia, can you ask a specific question, please? And that would be great. Like just whatever comes up, Anchor Haven, whatever you want to ask. Like, it could be whatever. You know what I mean? Just like it could be, I'm trying to think of some ideas. Whatever you want to ask about. I know you said general, but like, just to help us like hone in on something here. And that'd be great.
There's just a lot of energy on the planet right now. It's very chaotic. And when I'm doing readings, usually my clients, they come to me, they have something specific they want to work on. And that just makes it easier for me to hone in on her energy.
She still hasn't responded yet.
Well, if she's in the UK, and the technology has been a little wonky for quite some time. And now we're in a Mercury retrograde, which is also affecting technology. I don't know if it's slowed her ability down to.
Oh, she said, is there something blocking her finances? She wants to know.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to shuffle the cards. I've already cleared the space, everyone, with some Nag Champa. My crystals are out, and I have Archangel Metatron cards, but my guides were telling me to bring the goddess cards. So I'm going to pull a card for her, and I'm going to put my glasses on because I need to do that. Well, that's interesting because what the card is it's called Freya, and it's I'm so sorry about that.
Isn't that like a Viking goddess?
Well, okay, so these are different goddesses, but this one says radical acceptance for her, the card that was pulled, and so it's talking about a lot of her losing sight of a easier way for her to be in the world. So when you're struggling, right, the energy you're in is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So Freya was the Norse, which is Swedish, right? The goddess of war. And so when you're entering your mind and you're in a battlefield, so to speak, okay, then it's much more difficult to pull forward to manifest that what you desire. And if you're everywhere and you're scattered, okay, and you can't focus, then you're putting out mixed messages to the universe, and you're basically fighting yourself to bring in more finances. Now, what's happening on the planet today is there's a definite shift about energy when it relates to money and finances. And if you're in the old paradigm where you used to make money doing a certain thing, okay, if that is not working for you any longer, then you need to start to be more creative and think outside of the box and look at some other alternatives that maybe, you thought about before that you haven't pursued because maybe you don't have the confidence to go in that direction, because then it means, right, trying something new. And oftentimes, as human beings, we want to know how things are going to work out, right? But life is not that way, you know. Um, when you try something new, of course you hope it works, but every day, if you do one thing that moves towards the outcome of accomplishing that goal, and you just be consistent with it and believe that it's going to be possible to happen, then energetically you'll start to flow that sort of energy back into you, and you can manifest more of that, because we're all dealing with that right now. We've all had to change our focus, because the things we used to do to make money, they've just basically stopped. And
Yeah.
and then we start to feel like, well, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be successful in this area? Because the things we used to do are just not working anymore energetically. And it takes a lot of risk to go outside of the box and focus and try something new, right? Because we think, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does work? And you'll never know if it works if you don't try something new. So life is all about risk. Yes, maybe you want to have, a plan, okay, which would be a good thing. But certainly, Julia, you have the capacity to be successful. Maybe you just need to think about a different way of doing things that you haven't tried before. And if you're afraid to do that, well, if you never take that risk, you won't know, right? So hopefully, understand that every failure and every disappointment that you have is just another learning experience, right? And we've all had it. Anybody who's ever been successful, they will tell you they didn't succeed at things overnight. It was a lot of hard work and trial and error sometimes, even when they had a decent plan set in motion. And also, when you're a practitioner and you've been used to doing things on your own, the other thing that I've learned and am picking up with you is it's okay to ask for help from other practitioners. You don't have to be perfect in figuring everything out on your own. Okay. There's no shame in asking others for help. We're here to help each other on this planet, and because when one of us succeeds, we all succeed, right? So I'm hoping that was helpful for you, Julia. And I love the UK. I was stationed in Europe when I was in the army for over 3 years, and I loved England. It's a great place, and you're very lucky to be there. Oh, and by the way, you have an excellent person in England. Her name is Amanda Ellis. Okay, and she and her came up with the Archangel Metatron cards, and she does regular podcasts. And I do believe she lives somewhere near Manchester, near the ocean, I think. But she might be someone you might want to befriend as a colleague.
What's her name?
Her name is Amanda Ellis.
Oh, I've heard about Amanda Ellis. A lot of people like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are familiar. People are big on her work.
Well, she does a lot of different things like color and light therapy, but she's also a reader. And she channels people like, Prince and Elvis and Princess Diana. She's channeled quite a few times.
Wow, I'd love to hear from Princess Diana.
Yeah. And I like her because she's grounded. She's realistic, she's not judgmental. Okay. So, and I just like her energy. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be using her Archangel cards. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. And actually, she was just doing a bunch of podcasts really about the Epstein issues. So, and again, of course, that's in the news right now because it's time for all that chaos from the sex trafficking to finally come out. Because it is a worldwide problem, and there's so many little dots and connections there that when I've listened to her podcast that, she brings up that, really kind of address that issue. But anyway, I hope that was helpful, Julia. It's very lovely to read for you. Thank you.
Yeah, this whole Epstein thing makes me so mad because it makes me sick that people try to traffic children and women because they're women are strong, but they're also innocent at the same time. But kids are very innocent. You know what I mean? Kids are the picture of innocence. And when you manipulate a child like that, it fractures them for their whole life if they make it out of it alive. You know what I mean? That's if they make it out of it alive, and it's just the damage it does. It's totally satanic. You know what I mean? And the fact that there's just so many of these fucking pedos out there, it's like, it's actually sickening, I don't know.
Let me just kind of connect some dots with that real quick that you brought that up. So when I first became a clinical psychotherapist, I worked in inpatient and outpatient mental health facilities. And part of one of my hats that I used to wear was as a sexual assault and abuse therapist. So I dealt with children as young as 2 up to adult populations that were sexually assaulted and molested. And how it connects with the CIA, ex-CIA person, Kevin Shipp. That is, that Shipp, SHIPP, is he was talking about that specifically, that these organizations that do the SSP and the MyLab, and I have listened to many, many shows that you've done, Rob, with your people that have been severely affected by these things. They've been abused themselves. And now they're coming out and they're telling their stories. And everything is coming to the surface right now to be healed.
Yeah.
These are things that when you see this now, okay, it's all been divinely planned to come to the surface so that whoever has been victimized and abused can be validated that what happened to them, that it was a horrible experience, that we believe you, okay, that we're behind you, we love you, and we're here for you if you want us to help you. And I've done many, many EMDR sessions, eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing with children as young as 2 with little finger puppets, right, on my fingers, to desensitize the memories that go along with the emotional energy charge of the traumatic event that causes the depression, the suicidal ideation, the anxiety, the flashbacks, the post-traumatic stress disorder, right? So when you see this now Epstein fiasco coming to light, it was meant to come out at this point in time. And it really coincides with that CIA podcast that I was explaining and sharing with your audience, because he was privy to the people behind the scenes that were pulling the strings to abduct these little children from their homes, utilizing the Greys, if you know what I'm talking about.
Wait, they were talking about all this on Candace Owens? Like they were talking about SSP and MyLabs and gray aliens on Candace Owens?
Because
no
the
way.
CIA, yes, that's why I sent you both of those links for the video. I wanted you to watch it. It's so strategic, and you really should have him on your podcast.
I will.
Okay.
I will. I definitely will. But I can't believe he went that deep on Candace Owens. Usually she's more political,
No. And also, he has several books on Amazon. So if you Google his name, his books will come up. And he's a whistleblower. And by the way, they tried to kill him and his family. They broke into his home and they painted his ceiling with mycotoxins.
Oh my God.
And
holy shit. That's insane.
Tried to poison him and kill him and his family. And I guess he had like a black light where you could see all that, and he found it. He got his family out and they were treated. But those are the kinds of nefarious, underhanded, malevolent, psychotic, evil things that these people do when whistleblowers come out to tell the truth.
It's not even just whistleblowers. It's people like me. It's like, like Olivia James talks about, like Project Oblivion's going on right now, where they're attacking podcasters because they don't want this movement to. They don't want. That's probably why my YouTube was taken down. It's probably why they demonetized my audio podcast. It's probably why I get all the targeting, because they don't want. Even I don't even have that big of a platform anymore. But I mean,
it doesn't matter. Because if you watch the videos, Kevin Shipp addresses this specific issue that you're talking about right now. He goes into detail. He names names. They've threatened him on more than one occasion, but he is of a higher spiritual consciousness of the light. Look, they can kill our physical bodies, but we don't die anyway. Yeah. I want people to understand that death is not reality. A physical body may die, but everything about us still lives on in a light body, in a high frequency, in another dimension. And so they can't really kill us, right? But they do try to threaten us with death and to kill our families. And so when he was naming names, I got goosebumps, right? And when you get goosebumps, that's your higher self intuitively checking that, this is validation, this is truth, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be vibrating and getting the goosebumps.
Yeah, I agree. That's God. My friend Pink Bella calls it her God bumps.
Well, psychically, we all have psychic abilities because we're all from that consciousness. So when you hear, see, feel, and know, when you see things, when you hear things, when you feel things, when you know things in your body, because your body is made of what? Water and bone, and it vibrates, and you have emotions. And so when somebody's speaking truth, whether you're privy to it or not, if your body starts to react to it, right, and it feels true for you, then it's true, right? It's the same thing when you walk into a room and you meet somebody and you get that little oh God, I don't trust this person. I just met them. I just don't know why. But energetically, I feel emotionally that this is not a person I can trust. And so what's happening on our planet now is that people like you, Rob, and me, and Julia, and all of us who are out there trying to elevate the consciousness, of course they're targeting us. Because we are shifting the vibration and they are losing the battle. Eventually, they'll all be off this timeline. They will all literally disappear.
Yeah.
Right. But they're counting on us giving up, getting discouraged, depressed, despondent, fearful. They want to shut us all up. Yeah. They threaten us. I've been threatened myself. Yeah. I've been threatened by galactic energies. I've been threatened from the U.S. Army. Okay. I mean, let's face it. We've all been a target.
Yeah.
So you really, that's why I sent you those links, Rob, and everybody really should watch those videos. You will get an education.
People don't know this, but the whole reason I know you is because a guy that I used to interview that I considered him a really good friend was Dr. Michael Lynch. You were really good friends with him as well. He was onto a lot of stuff, that people, would be, people could go back and watch the interviews I did with him today, and they're still all very relevant because it was that powerful, I feel,
Well, I still have contact with his family members, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I promised Michael when he crossed over that I would look out for his family, and I have.
He was a great guy. I mean, I didn't know him as well as you, but we got along really well. He was always very professional. You know what I mean? I never saw him kind of break character in a way, not break character, but I never saw him I saw maybe the lighter side of him, but he was always very professional. You know what I mean? Always came to the show with
because the truth meant everything to him, and he did everything he could, including his research. That's why when I wrote my books, this most recent one, and then my other book, my 2 books on Amazon, he was able to proofread my second book and gave me feedback and helped me without any payback in any way.
Yeah.
He was just that person. He would give you the shirt off his back if he could, and his loss has been severely felt
Yeah.
by the people who cared for him. But I want you to understand that he was on radio for many, many years. He dealt with people behind the scenes who took advantage of his brilliance and didn't reward him for it.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of us, right, in this lifetime may not get rewarded for the brilliance that we do, but I'm not doing it for the brilliance. I'm doing it because I made a promise that I would serve humanity and do what I came here to do to help the consciousness and the planet evolve out of this timeline, you know, and we all are here to do that. At least those of us who are consciously awake, we know that this is our mission. And whatever way you choose to do that, you know, that is your purview. But you should be professional when you're trying to educate people and help them, you know, because there's so many people out there that just want to take your money and tell you a bunch of stuff that may not be accurate. You know, and whenever I've written my books, I've done my research. I do the bibliography, and that's what Michael did. So I hope that I answered the question for Julia. I mean, really, the only thing that's blocking your finances, Julia, to be quite blunt, is your inability to believe that you can actually go in another direction. And it may not be the one that you've been utilizing, but if you never look outside the box and you don't take risk, then you're never going to know that you're going to be able to succeed in that area. You know,
Yeah.
I have not been able to do the same thing with my career for the last 50 years. Okay, because I'm over 50, and I've had to change and reinvent myself so many times, you know, and that's kind of what keeps us like young at heart and learning new things, and that's a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that Dr. Lynch taught me, was endurance and persistence pays off in the end. Don't get depressed and down to the point where you just give up and you stop trying new things.
That that's so great you said that. I needed to hear that because I there's been times like since I got my audio podcast demonetized lately, there have been times where I was like, maybe I should just give up. You know what I mean? Because it's
No.
like they're doing such. Someone wants me to quit. You know, like, and I've honestly like thought about it, but then I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I have all this work. Like I put out so much work. I put out like over 2,100 episodes. Like I couldn't just walk away now. And it's like I'm neck deep in it. You know, I was gonna. You know,
Rob,
I'm like
you are in it, okay? And to the point where if you leave now, you're going to beat yourself up. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when I was in the Army. I was put through so many shitty situations, I have to tell you. And I was 18 when I went in before I got my degrees, okay? And I dealt with people from all walks of life, manipulative people, okay, controlling people. And I would just tell myself every day, you know what? I'm stronger than this. I'm not going to let these people victimize me and run over me and make me give up on myself. I just would say, that's their issue, not mine. You're not going to stamp my energy field with your garbage, your belief structure, right? I'm going to keep doing what my heart and my intuition is telling me that's right for me. Because my life is my life and yours is your life too, Rob. Okay. And what you're doing is so important because without you, these people that have been sexually assaulted, abused, kidnapped, you know, bullied, manipulated, you know, they would not have a platform where they could come out and talk about these things, because when they talk about these things, it helps them heal and it raises their vibration.
Yeah.
So basically, you're actually working as a facilitator of healing, and you don't even realize it. What you're doing is extremely important. And as far as like money goes, well, sometimes we have to find other ways to make money. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We have to be flexible and look at other alternatives, because the powers that be are shutting things down for those of us who were making money with a certain area, but they want us to stop. So then we have to go, well, screw you. I'm going to find another alternative to make money. That's what I've been doing.
And I just got somebody just messaged me today. My pod, even though they demonetized my audio podcast, it's still number 53 on Apple Podcasts. So I'm that number 53 in the world.
And that's a huge big deal. Okay. I mean, that's a lot, you know, and actually too, you know, I know that maybe Candace Owens might come across like she's political, which she can be. Okay. But she's spiritually enlightened and her consciousness is open. You might want to have a chat with her sometime, Rob, and be on her show. It's a good way to get your program marketed in another.
If I could, I would love to get on her show. If I could, I would. But I mean, you know, I don't know. She would, you know, it's just like Kevin Shipp. I'd love to have him on my show, but you know, it's,
if you don't reach out to them, you'll never know. You're just allowing your fear to hold you back. Just do it. All they can say is no.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then their audiences are they're even bigger, right? Yeah. So I'm eventually reaching out to her too. I've finished my 3rd book. I haven't published it yet. And there's reasons why I haven't published it yet. Because let's just say what's going on in our country right now, I don't want to be a target of the government. Because the things I have to say as a whistleblower are going to upset an apple cart bigger than maybe could be handled right now. Yeah. And so I just want to tell you that, you know, if you don't reach out, you're never going to know if it's a possibility.
Yeah.
You know, are there any other people in here that
there's more people who want readings. We have 2 more questions. We have Carrie Hanlon and then Ursula. Carrie Hanlon's said she's going to donate in a couple of days. Oh wait, she said that wasn't the message. She said she had a question. What was her question? Let me see here. Hold on. Sorry, I'm looking for it here. Wait, they do this to me. Like, I have your question here, Carrie Hanlon. Maybe let me see here. I know I had it. God damn it! I hate when this happens. Here it is. Here it is.
Go ahead.
Right here. I got it right here. She says, "Can I get a reading if you have time? I'm going to give you a decent donation on Wednesday again, Robin." Yeah, thank you, Carrie. That's awesome. Like,
can you ask her for a specific question?
Yeah.
Can you ask her for a specific question?
Oh yeah. Can you? She's in Australia, so she might be getting this a little bit behind. But like, can you put in a question, Carrie, please? And then Ursula, I saw your question too. We'll get to your question next. And if anybody else has a question, put your question in the audience. You don't have to donate. You're not obligated to donate, but it does help the podcast. And like I said, I would like to pay Renae something as well. So like, you know, it will go to both of those things. So, you know, if you do want to donate.
Well, so I always say to people, if you want to give a love offering, that's okay. If you don't, that's fine too. But again, you know, this is a way for Rob to keep the show going. And because he helps so many people with the information that he disseminates.
Thanks, Renae. I appreciate that.
It's true. It's true.
And here's her question. She says, what should I concentrate with my healing right now? She says.
Okay, so healing as far as what? Mental, emotional, physical, financial, spiritual?
Maybe do you mean spiritual or physical, Carrie? I wish I could bring her in, you know, or I wish I could have her. I'm working on. I just by the way, I just signed up for a thing called Call-in Studio, so I'm getting it set up to take phone calls now. By the next time you come on my show, I should be able to take phone calls.
Because you know why? When I have an interactive conversation with a person, okay, not only energetically do I pick up on their energy emotionally, but I pick up on their voice, and their voice holds a vibration and a frequency. And then what happens with me is I see, hear, and feel the information coming through. And it may be even a loved one on the other side, like who has crossed over into a different dimension that may have a message for them regarding a situation that they might be going through now. And that's
Yeah.
why I try to get specific question, because it's so, it could be anything, right? And I don't want to like not be accurate as far as what is it specifically she's asking about.
Yeah. She wanted to know about spiritual healing. She said spiritual
Okay.
healing, and we
So,
just got 2 donations, so that's good. Like thank you to Tiffany and thank you to Ursula and Tiffany, Rose, and Ursula. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
okay. So, Carrie, your number 88 behind your name. When you do the numerology for that, 8 and 8 is 16, it comes out to a 7. A 7 vibrationally for you is a spiritual vibration. And if you are doing the work on yourself, in the inner work on yourself, intuitively, where you're going and dealing with psychological and emotional blockages from whatever timeline they may have, stamped your energy field, then energetically you will elevate your spiritual consciousness and your frequency. And I don't know if you're working with a specific practitioner in Australia or not, but I'm also picking up on, strange that it may seem, if you have contact with the Aboriginal population there, that may be an avenue for you to be mentored personally yourself in an environment that is removed from some of the nuances and civilization that occurs around you, whether it's from television, frequency, computers, or just the city itself. You need to get more out into the natural world with people that understand how to ground you and connect you with the earth itself and with the sky above. And that population, they have like the Aboriginal healers, they don't call them shaman necessarily per se, but they have been practicing this for many, 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 many years. And they're great teachers. And you might want to connect with that population of healers in your community if you have access to it. And oftentimes they'll take donations to reciprocate and help you and teach you some of those things. But that's what I was seeing. I was seeing Aborigines. So I don't know if that rings a bell with you, but certainly that would be fascinating to pursue. I would think, especially if you have access to that culture. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, I'll get to the next one here. This is the next one is Ursula. And Ursula says, let me see here. Ursula,
She
can you?
says she's been thinking about connecting with the elders. Thank
Yeah,
you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit.
yeah, that's amazing.
See, this is why I cleanse my space. I cleanse the cards. I do all of that, and I ask Spirit for connection and guidance for the people I read for. So when I saw that where she said she's been thinking about doing that, I was like, perfect. That's just validation for her and for me. And I love it. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you.
It's amazing. I love when we get psychic confirmations like that.
Yeah, well, see, that's why, I say if you're very intuitive, Rob, and you are, see, hear, feeling, knowing, we all have those abilities. We just don't trust it. See?
Yeah,
We don't
I
go with
agree.
it. And usually when I'm doing readings, whether it's psychic readings or mediumship readings, I always say to the person, look, I'm not going to filter any information. I say, do you want to know everything I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing? And I said, when it comes through, I'm going to tell you what's coming through. It may not be what you want to hear, okay, but it's what I'm hearing. And then if a person comes through and they tell me a name or this, they say something specific that only the two of you could know, then that validates for you that energetically, not only am I communicating with that person on that dimensional frequency, but that they're around you and they've been trying to get through to you anyway. It's just you're not trusting what you're seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing, right? And that's why people go outside of their intuitive abilities to somebody like me for readings, because they want to validate that what they're experiencing is accurate. And they're only going to tell me something that the two of you would know. And there's no way I could know that if I've just met you, right? So it's kind of how, that's kind of how I work. And that's why I ask for specifics, because it just hones me in right where I need to be.
I agree. It's amazing. Yeah. This one's from Ursula, and she says, a month ago, a small orange button-like object with an S on it hit me in the arm. She's wondering, where did it come from? Who or what threw this item at me? She says she was alone in a room. Was it maybe an interdimensional, or maybe, like a hidden Sasquatch or something, or like it could be anything, right?
Is she saying that? Is she saying
No, I was just coming up with stuff like it could be this or that, or it could be,
Okay, so a month ago, a small orange button-like object with an S on it hit me in the arm. Where did it come from? Who or what threw this item at me? I was alone in the room. Thank you. So can I ask, is a loved one that you've known made a transition with their first name or their last name, but I'm seeing first name, that starts with an S? Can you ask her that? And when I say recent, it could be in the last year. It doesn't have to be in the last couple of days, okay? Because spirit doesn't really, time doesn't exist in those dimensions either.
She said no.
Okay. Is this something that happens when she's awake, or is she coming out of a hypnagogic sleep state?
She says no one with an S, with a J. She said someone with a J passed away. She said she was fully awake, and
can you ask her? Can you ask her what her thoughts and feelings were in the moment when that happened to her?
Yeah. What were your thoughts and feelings, Ursula? Like, what was the first thing that came to you? Because usually that's going to give you a clue, right, as to what was going on, right?
Because that's what I'm hearing. They want me to ask her.
No thoughts or feelings, just confused. She said scared a bit.
Okay. So the first emotion that would come up after that type of experience is fear. And that can be because it might have been the first time that something like this happened to you, right? So it sets up a feeling of confusion, like what's really happening. So oftentimes when spirit wants to get our attention, okay, they'll do things like that. You might hear a voice say your name out of nowhere. The lights.
She said this is the second time this happened. She said this is the second time this occurred.
Right.
So that's, you don't know what that means, That's
because somebody's trying to get her attention for a reason. Okay. So if the lights flicker in your room, if an object flies at you, if you hear your name called out, okay, it's something in the spiritual realm that's trying to get your attention. So has she gone through anything in the last 6 weeks? That's trying to get her to wake up and move in a different direction. because something's trying to wake her up and get her attention because she's not paying attention to something that she needs to be doing. And it doesn't have to be anything strange like, aliens or galactic contact or, anything that's that, out there. It can be as simple as somebody in the spiritual realms trying to get your attention to wake you up because you're not paying attention to something that you need to be doing. And without talking to her, and I'm only telling a person what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, or getting. I don't make things up. So, like, if I don't see it, then it's not giving me the information.
She said she doesn't know. She says she does see repetitive numbers, synchronicities in music.
Oh, okay. So, is she a musician? Or does she want to be a musician?
I don't know.
See,
she said she learned she was in the SSP. She said thanks to Rob's readings on a show. So, or maybe she said, I guess she said she found out she was in the SSP thanks to someone told her that it was on the show. She said not a musician though.
But yet she's getting repetitive numbers and music. So
yeah, it's almost like you would think that's a sign from like the spirit world, right? Like that's
listen, spirit, what people don't understand is that just because you transition out of your body and you're in a different dimensional frequency, that doesn't mean that you can't move things or create things or have sound come into a room or you hear a voice. You're not hallucinating. You're not psychotic, okay? It's that energy trying to get your attention to help you be consciously aware of something that you need to be doing. So if it's
Ursula,
because it's okay. So if you're getting this repetitively, then what I would say to you is that either go into a state of contemplative meditation at the same time every day and go intuitively into yourself and just relax your mind, do your breathing techniques, and just try to focus into that. And then ask it, whatever it is, whoever they are, what do you want? Who are you? What do you want? What is the message? Because obviously it's a repetitive thing that's happening because you're trying to get her attention. But she's not picking it up, whatever it is, because maybe it's scaring her, right? And whenever it scares her and she gets confused, what happens is it drops her frequency, right? And she can't pick up on their frequency. So believe it or not, dimensionally, spirit is like within 3 feet around us in all directions, and if she's in fear when this happens, she's blocking whatever those messages that are coming in. Now, I don't know who told her she was in the SSP or any of those things, right? But usually when I'm doing hypnotic regressions with people, okay, I will regress the person back to the exact time or place that experience happened to you, because then you're in an altered state of consciousness. You're in peace and calm. So whatever was trying to get through to you to give you a message, then you're not in the fear, right? Because then you're emotionally calm. Psychologically, you're open to the message. And then you can integrate it and hear it on many different levels, mind, body, and spirit. So if you have a facilitator that you can work with that maybe could do a hypnotic regression with you and keep you calm and have you go back to this place where this object hit you, right? Then you'll get a connection and hopefully you'll see who it is and what it is they want to tell you. because nothing bad is happening to you while that's happening, from what I'm hearing. So find somebody who can maybe do this process with you, that you trust, that you have a good rapport with, that's a good energetic fit, because not everybody may be, and see if they can't tap into this when you're in a calm state of consciousness and you're not in fear, and you can, connect with it. And hopefully that will help you. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that was great.
I know oftentimes people, they want specific answers to questions, but, I can't force, the answer if the connection is supposed to be made between spirit and that person, because it's a personal communication, and I'm not going to make things up and tell people things that I'm not seeing, feeling, hearing, or knowing. But if I
love that. I respect that.
Well, because that's the responsible way to be, and I'm here to.
That's how all psychics should be. Yeah.
Well, but just understand, I'm a clinical psychotherapist, and I take an oath, and I have a code of ethics that I have to live by, and so I'm not going to, take advantage of anybody.
Yeah.
Because it's a bad thing. It would be karmically inappropriate, and it would be a disservice to my clients, and I would never do that to them. It would just be one more abuse piled on top of, previous abuses. And, I'm an ethical practitioner. And so, but when I'm seeing that when this happens, she goes in a state of fear and confusion, then she blocks her ability to know what it is, what they want, and what they're trying to tell her. And then she misses out on it. And then it keeps happening to her, right? And because they're trying to get her attention, to give her information. But as long as she's in the fear, she can't access the information. So if she works with a practitioner that can facilitate that process safely with her, that she trusts, then I think she'll get the answers that she's seeking. And once she gets the answers that she's seeking, then that thing that's happening to her will probably stop. I'm not picking up like anything about SSP or anything like that, And the thing that I like about hypnotic regression therapy is that I'm just facilitating the induction process. I don't coach anybody. I don't tell them where to go. Your higher self takes you exactly where you need to go to see, feel, hear, and know exactly the information that you need that would answer that question. And because I do suggestibility testing, I make sure that you're in a deep state of trance. And I make sure that you're in hypnosis, right? So there's no question that you're in hypnosis. That's what a practitioner who has been trained in this type of intervention knows how to make sure you're in a deep state of trance or hypnosis or suggestion. It can be called many things. And then let the client know, right, with suggestibility testing, so that validates for them, yeah, I'm really in trance. I'm not just making this stuff up. Okay, right?
Yeah.
They need to know that. And a good hypnotic practitioner will know how to do that. But if she's open to doing that, some people have this belief system that when you're hypnotized, that people can get you to do anything you want them to do. But that's a misnomer. You'll never go against your moral belief system, right? So if you're with...
I was going to say, when I've been regressed like 12 times, like every time I've been regressed, I've been in the regression, but I've also been like 50% aware too. It's like my mind's still there, but I'm also in this other realm, like where I can access things. And, you always have like part of your awareness in the regression, right? Like at least I have,
Exactly. I mean, time may feel like it passes, very quickly. but that's just like a side effect, I want to say, of hypnosis. But when you're with a practitioner who knows what they're doing, like you said, Rob, you're going to be in trance, but you're going to be aware of what's happening around you. You'll be able to hear a car horn honking outside or a train passing by, but you won't be paying attention to that because you'll be connected with your higher self, your higher consciousness, your super consciousness, and then once you're connected with that part of your consciousness, then it will show you exactly what you need to see, hear, feel, and know to answer whatever the issue is that you're dealing with in that session. And then, when your hypnotherapist counts you up and out of trance, they'll say, now you'll remember each and every moment of your session and feel great. You'll feel energetic, and you should come out of it feeling relieved and lighter, right? Because you've had an answer to the question, like this person has, and
Yeah.
and not everybody is open to hypnosis, and I get that, but she can also practice mindfulness. There are CDs and tapes that people can go and practice mindfulness that will intuitively center you and calm you so you can connect with your spiritual higher self and seek the answers to those questions too. But a lot of people like to be guided through this sort of thing, because they're fearful, they're cautious, they're confused, and they want answers. And, the sooner they get answers, then they can alleviate a lot of the anxiety that they've been experiencing. So
Yeah.
hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was amazing. The next one was we have from Sally Forth, where her name's Tiffany, and I mean, like I wanted to tell you so you could tap into her, but like I'm waiting for her to put her question in the chat because she just said she PayPal'd me and then she didn't say what her question was. So I mean like, and I know you want people to ask a question. I'm gonna text her because I know.
It's okay. It just allows me to let the energy go from the last person energetically, and let it go into the light and just let it go with love.
Yeah, I
And
texted
Ursula,
her too. Yes.
thank you, Ursula, for that question. And every question that I hear today is important, okay? Um, because each and every human being on the planet is shifting through something that's very important to them right at this time. And with the Lionsgate energy on 8/8 and these portals opening up, we're going to be streamed with so much more energy coming in from the solar logos, as I like to call it, or the creator energies, that it's going to be triggering people's blockages. So, whatever the issue is that you're struggling with right now, as I'm speaking to your audience, whatever the blockage is with these solar energies, just know that they're meant to come up at this time. It's safe for them to come up at this time. You're not going crazy, okay? You may be having a lot of what I call physiological symptoms, emotional symptoms that come up. They call them ascension symptoms, but basically they're just blockages energetically, okay? I can use the fancy terminology of ascension, but people don't know what that means, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but people know what feelings feel like, right? And they know what mental confusion and depressed mood feels like. So, as those things are coming up, if you need to seek assistance or help from a practitioner, there are a lot of people out there that can, facilitate those processes for you. You don't have to be struggling alone. Find someone that you feel safe with, and that's a good fit. And then work as a team. Because I'm not here to cure or fix anyone, right? I'm here to facilitate the process for you to, elevate and transition through those blockages.
Yeah. She doesn't know what she wants to ask. Is anything you could pick up from her? Here's what she wrote. She wrote, I'm not sure what to ask. I want to get super involved with all this stuff, but I've only been in it a few months and I don't know if it's just a phase. It doesn't feel like a phase. I'll tell you, I've talked to her on the phone. Like, she's just getting into this stuff and she found my podcast and she's learning a lot. And, she has kids and stuff too. So she's probably like, when she hears this stuff, it probably worries her, like, because like, she does, she has kids in this world and stuff like that. And she hears all this crazy stuff on my show and other shows I'm sure she's watching, but she's really interested in UFOs and she's really interested in like, space and, the paranormal and stuff like that,
Okay. So I was picking up on this question before she asked it. That's why I started talking about the physiological ascension symptoms. Okay. So what's happening on the planet is that people who have been asleep consciously, as far as their spiritual awareness, are now being awoken. They're being triggered. And when she watches shows like this or any other podcast, and she's hearing all these new things she's never been exposed to before, right? Because she's been living in 3D Earth, which is what? All the day-to-day things that she needs to do, right? Like get up, take care of your kid, go to work, right? And so she's been too busy until recently, right? That to really wake up her consciousness. And now it's waking up. And because it's waking up and she doesn't know what direction to go in, it's confusing, right? And there are millions of people on this planet waking up now who are feeling exactly the way you are, Sally. So you're not alone in this process. This is meant to be. People on this planet have to wake up to get our consciousness elevated spiritually so we can take back the timeline, so we can live lives of what? Our full sovereignty, our freedom, peace, prosperity. Okay. And so when people who've been sleeping are now waking up, of course you're all confused and you don't know what direction and you don't know who to listen to. It's a lot. I've been doing what I do for a long, long time. Okay. So for me, this is kind of old hat, right? So that's why I write the books. That's why I do the podcast, because I'm trying to, what's the word? Let you know that what's happening to you is normal, that it's happening to billions of people on the planet, that it's time, it's been prophesied that this was going to be happening, to spiritually elevate our consciousness, because we're not supposed to be living the way that you see things are right now, right? With all the negativity and the violence and the wars
and the propaganda, the constant propaganda that's waged against us. It's like a propaganda war.
Yep, exactly, because they're losing the battle. The light workers like us that we've been doing, Rob, and all the people he has on his show, they call us light workers. Why? Because we have been not only working on ourselves, right, to elevate our consciousness, but now that we've been through basically the trenches, and I'm ex-Army, so I can say that. I've actually crawled through trenches, okay? When I was 18, we've done a lot of the dirty work to elevate the consciousness to the point of the vibration is now waking the rest of the planet up, because we did the groundwork for the planet. And now that you're all waking up, right, part of our job is to help you not feel afraid, to embrace your empowerment, right, so that you can do what? Start to feel safe in your skin. To know that if you're seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing things intuitively in your gut, that it's really happening. And it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just like when you teach your children something new, right? Children have to what? They have to scooch before they crawl, before they pull themselves up on the couch, before they can start walking, right? Right? It's an evolutionary phase. And we're going through that as human beings on this planet. And because there are only a certain amount of teachers out there who've experienced this in their own personal lives, right? It's not common knowledge. And because the powers that be won't let us get on television, okay, so we can educate the populace about what's really happening so they're not afraid, okay, the general population, when they hear these things on podcasts, it's like it comes out of nowhere and you're like, what is this all about? And it causes fear and confusion. And that's exactly what you've been experiencing, Sally.
Yeah.
Now, which direction are you going to go into? That depends on your personal proclivities of what you're passionate about, right? If you're passionate about being a massage therapist or a Reiki master or an intuitive medium yourself or a musician or an artist, your proclivities of your intuition and your desires and passions are going to start to pull you in those directions that feel that you want, that you crave, that you could enjoy, that brings you passion and joy. And I think you probably know what those are. You just maybe not trusting that, oh, well, maybe I could do something like that. And then that would take me in this direction of spiritually evolving. Now, I can tell you, when I started to get pulled into things like alien abduction syndrome and galactic types of forces that were impinging upon my clients who may have had sexual encounters, those things were new to me. So I had to spend time wrapping my head around learning as much as I could about those sort of things so that when I was working with my clients, I wouldn't be afraid to go into it as deep as I would need to go to help that person shift through that trauma. So you'll know which direction to go when it's when you do a little bit of I would say do a little bit of meditation, breath work, mindfulness. If you don't know how to do those things, find a practitioner out there who can teach you how to do that. There are thousands of them across the planet. You can live in any area of the world, and I guarantee you'll find a practitioner that can help you do that. So I hope I've answered that question for her. I'm sorry I went on a bit much about that, but this is a normal question. And right now, there are really billions of people across this planet who are waking up, and they're feeling exactly the same way you're feeling, Sally. They're confused and they don't know what's going on. What should they listen to? What should they watch? Who should they trust? But just to remind you that the creator who made us gave us intuition. That's hearing, seeing, feeling, knowing in your gut, intuitively, what is right for you. And no matter what anybody tells you, even me, if it doesn't intuitively ring true for you in your gut, then it's not for you. And bless it and move on until you find what intuitively feels right for you in your gut. Your gut is your connection to your inner wisdom, and it will help connect you and help you trust that what you're feeling and knowing is right for you, because it's different for everyone. So I hope I answered that question. Rob, did we go over? Do you have another person?
Muted. Sorry. No, we have 25 minutes left. We still have 25 minutes. We can just kind of talk or whatever.
I just want to
She
make
said,
sure that I'm not interfering with your next person that you have
no,
scheduled.
no, but it was good. We did a check in now. Like
Okay.
I'm gonna make a coffee after this too. But I told her, I asked her if we could start like 5 minutes late because I want to make a instant coffee after this. But
Okay.
Sally, and by the way, her name's Tiffany in real life. She just uses Sally on YouTube. She says, I'll put the question up on this. But this was following up to what you just said. She said, wait, that put the wrong question up. Here it is. It's right here. She says, I can't always tell. Can you sense anything negative around me? She says.
Ask her if she's clearing her energy field when she starts to feel negative thoughts or emotions. Is she clearing her energy field? And if she's not, does she know how to do that?
If you heard her, Tiffany, if you could answer, that'd be great.
Because there's several things, if that's happening, that she could do on a daily basis consistently until she stops feeling any negative energies or frequencies in her energy field. Now, if she's working on a computer all day and she has an iPhone in her face, okay, we're constantly being bombarded by what's called, electromagnetic frequencies. But if energetically she's having negative thoughts that are telling her to harm herself or others, okay, or she's feeling negative emotions, and she starts to clear her energy field of whatever is causing those blockages that are causing that, she may be able to do this herself. If not, then she would probably seek out a practitioner who can help her deal with any kind of past traumas that she may have experienced in this lifetime or any other timeline.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
Because you can't just throw things at people, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's why I like to speak with people, because I get specific feedback, and then it tells me exactly the direction that the issue is coming from, and then that's where we focus on, because that's what's causing the problem, right? And keeping the person stuck.
yeah. I was gonna go move. Yeah, let me see if she responded. Nothing. Well, I was gonna move on to the next person. I guess I'm not sure.
Well, let me just say one thing before you move, okay? So oftentimes, if a person has access to a bath, Epsom salts, believe it or not, okay, soaking in a bath of Epsom salts, 1 to 2 pounds, depending on your body weight, in water as comfortably hot as you can stand it for about 20 minutes. And then submerge yourself, including your head, in the Epsom salt bath, because energetically, it's absorbed through your skin, which is your largest organ system in your body, and it also energetically washes off the auric field.
Yeah.
And that can give a person tremendous immediate relief energetically of any negative energies around them. Now, sometimes people have what's called attachments. And let's just say a person works in a hospital where people expire, they make their transition, but they don't always cross into the other dimension, right? Sometimes they'll attach to a person and you might bring it home with you.
Renae, I was thinking, I just want to say, I think we all have attachments to a certain degree. I think it's just how those of us that can perceive them. But I think there's definitely like parasitic energies that feed off us,
But that's why I tell people, and I do this too with clients, okay? When I'm done with a client, I energetically clean off my energy field immediately, because whatever was attached to that person, I don't want it on my energy field. right?
Yeah.
And so, and I notice if I start to think negatively or feel something emotionally negative, then I'm thinking, oh, I didn't clear and cleanse my energy field off well enough, because that's not my stuff, right? And whether
Yeah.
it's an entity attachment or that person's trauma blockage that didn't get desensitized well enough in a therapeutic session, I don't want to take that home. Okay. It's not my stuff. And energetically, energy can change form, right? It can dissipate. And so you can get that stuff off your energy field. And also, if a person has an addiction like alcohol or drugs, okay, or you go into a bar and you expose yourself to other people who may have entity attachments, you might be bringing those home with you. See, people don't
Yeah.
understand that you can pick up this anywhere. When you
Yeah.
go into a church and you see them doing the Eucharist with the smoke, right?
Yeah.
Doing that because people bring in attachments in their energy field into the church, and they don't want the energy in the church. Because why? Because they want the vibration in the church to be of what? Love and light. Because
I'll
that's
tell
what
you. I'll tell you a story. I went to a church one time recently when I had bad attachments. Like I'm sure you follow my shows, so I had real bad entity attachments, and I went into a church, and the entities were going crazy. Like I could feel the energy; they were jumping around all over me. Like
yeah.
when they did the smoke, because the entities don't like smoke; they hate it. They hate that smoke. Like it really drives them crazy.
Well, there is you can use sage or sweetgrass, like the Native Americans that I spent time with that taught me many things. But you can also get Nag Champa. It's another little incense, and it's very therapeutic. You
Did
can
you say
also
sweetgrass too? Because I know there's a Native American who came on Art Bell. He used to talk about sweetgrass was really good for that as well.
Yeah, and actually, when I would do sweat lodges with my Native American people that I worked with, that's what they do in the sweat lodge. They'll put sweetgrass or sage in there, and it smokes, right? And then what it does is it cleans off energy fields, right?
Yeah.
So if you come in there with negative energy attachments, if you're thinking negatively, or if you're depressed, you're anxious, you're feeling off. Oftentimes after you get out of the sweat lodge, you no longer feel that way. You just feel lighter, right? So that's why when I'm doing my therapy sessions or my readings with my clients, I constantly smudge in between sessions and cleanse my own energy field.
I just lit some. These are dragon's blood incense. Did you ever
Yes,
try
and another thing, or Palo Santo,
Yeah.
dragon's blood, anything that elevates the frequency high enough, because if negative energy, they're in that fear base, they can't take that vibration and they'll leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's good that you do that, Rob. Really, it's really good that you do that. So hopefully, she says Nag Champa is so good. Yeah, it's actually my favorite thing to do. I've been doing it for many, many years. I do a lot of other things, but I feel it's really quick. Nag Champa is a very high vibrational frequency, and it cleans the energy very quickly. Or you use one of these tuning rod, right? And you can go around your energy field. Okay. All right. Just depends on the frequency of the rod itself. And there are practitioners who teach you how to use these, and they sell them. Okay. And I like them because you can feel it immediately almost. Or, you can do selenite wands, right, around your energy fields. Or you could just go take an Epsom salt bath, which is very enjoyable, right? So,
Yeah.
so those are a lot of
Epsom salt. Doesn't it dry you out? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, doesn't Epsom salt dry you out?
No. And actually, you're going to feel tingly and light and refreshed when you get out. And if you feel like you need to put something on, just get something that's non-toxic, right? There's a lot of products now, that you can utilize that don't have toxins in them when you put them on your skin. Because your skin is your largest organ system in your body, right? It's a big detoxer. So you don't want to clog up those pores. So I hope I answered those questions.
Yeah. We have two more questions. I wanted to try to get them in, but we only have 15 minutes left. But this one was from Puck Elf. He said he's really resonating with your show. He said he's from Australia as well. We have a lot of Australia listeners. But he says I think he types differently. Like I think he has like a condition or something that he says rebuilding my own inner spirit from the inside out again, leaving behind the old and new things and creating new things. He says, could I have a blessing to go with it? He says to move on with it. He means could he maybe a blessing to move on with it? Could you give him?
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any autism or Asperger's syndrome going on with you? What is his name?
Puck Elf.
Is that his born name though? That his
No.
name?
I don't know what his born name is. That's his name on here. He also lives in a van. He's pretty cool. He does van life. Like my friend Michelle Black Feather in the Wind. She does van life in New York City. He does van life in Australia. I think he does. I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah.
Can you ask him though?
Really,
Is there any kind of like neurological issue going on with him?
he says a little bit of head injuries. He says.
Okay, that's perfect. Not that the head injury is perfect, but I was picking up neurological. Okay. So I worked with a functional medicine doctor in Chicago for 10 years, and we practiced hyperbaric oxygen therapy in our office. And usually it's well known for things like treating the bends, Navy divers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we used to treat it for everything from traumatic brain injuries to concussions to workman's comp injuries, PI cases, PTSD, autism, Asperger's syndrome, Lyme's disease, bird's flu, kids who had other, types of debilitating conditions, dementia, Alzheimer's, that sort of thing. But I was picking up a neurological issue. So there's a lot of research about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, worldwide. You can find a lot of that information on the NIH site, the National Institutes of Health, where they talk about how oxygen under pressure goes into the dendrites, the synaptic connections in the brain that have been inflamed because of an injury, that then starts to affect your neurological system that goes everything from, your vision, your smell, your hearing, your voice, down your cervicals, your thoracics, all the way through your body, right? Because your spine is like a xylophone, and your chakras run down the length of your back and the front of your body. And we have little chakras everywhere else, right? On our feet. So neurologically, when there's a traumatic brain injury, there's inflammation. And so what happens is those synaptic connections in the brain kind of loosen up and the dendrites maybe disconnect. And what hyperbaric oxygen therapy will do, it will start to grow the synapses and connect the dendrites so that they do what? They start telling the brain electronically, to turn things back on in our body. And because this is not like a widespread worldwide where they're educating the populace about hyperbaric medicine, people don't even know it exists, and they don't know that it can take care of these things. And when I was working on Army bases here in this area where I currently reside, I tried to educate them that there were longitudinal studies by Dr. Paul Harch, Harch, from the Louisiana Hyperbaric organization in Louisiana, that he did the longitudinal studies with Iraq and Afghanistan combat military who suffered from TBI concussion injuries that caused the PTSD that then caused the suicidal ideation. He made the connections, and he did that through things like SPECT photography, single photon emission computerized tomography. I'm sorry, I have this huge medical background too, but so if you're having a neurological condition, and let's just say you go to a chiropractor or a naturopath or a napropath. In Sweden, they're called napropaths, but they work on the connective tissue, joints, muscles, tendons. And what they do is they don't crack bones. They basically put you back into alignment. But with the hyperbarics, when the oxygen goes from the higher pressure gradient into a lower one, it starts to feed those dendrites and those synaptic organisms, and starts to repair them, decrease the inflammation, and grow things back in the brain. And then they start to make these electronical connections that go from your brain down your spine and tells things to start being turned on. So like when people have neuropathy, the tingling in the fingers, the burning on the bottom of the feet, it's because the brain is not telling the rest of the neurology, the electric system in your body, how to turn things on and work properly again. And they don't tell people about these things because, as I was told from a doctor at Northwestern in Chicago one time, well, we can't tell patients about these things. And I said, well, why can't you? Well, because they have to ask us about them. I guess, well, how would they ask you if they don't even know it exists? So I know that's a lot of information, okay, but my third book is a lot about exactly this topic. One of these days when I publish it, I'll make it available to everyone. But you can also go to Google, and you'll find hyperbaric oxygen. It's called HBOT, HBOT. You'll find facilities worldwide. And usually they'll give you a consultation and answer your questions. And then you can go into a facility and talk to them. And the reason I know from personal experience why this works is, like I said, I worked with a functional medicine doctor in Chicago for 10 years. But when he had his left occipital region stroke, we had just purchased through oxyhealth.com the Vitaris 320 portable chambers. And I would put him in the chamber every day for an hour for 5.5 weeks. And in 5.5 weeks, he started to walk without a cane, articulate without slurring his speech, and working on his patients again. And had I not seen it and participated in that, I probably wouldn't have written this third book and do what I do. So hopefully, Puck Elf, that's helpful. I hope that helps you. Okay, I know that's a lot, but I have a background in research. I actually worked at Loyola for a while in research. So actually cancer research. So a lot of what I am telling people, I've actually done the research. And when I do my bibliographies in my book, I put the research in there. So people know I'm not just throwing out information. I've actually fact checked it. Like Dr. Lynch used to do. I do the same thing because I don't want to lead anybody down a garden path and give them misinformation. It's really important to tell people exactly the facts, and then they can, look things up themselves and, validate it and confirm it for whatever it is they're dealing with. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah, no, you did. That was amazing. I was saying the Andromedan had a question, but I can get him on. Okay, well, maybe we could just do it real quick because we still have 5 minutes. But his question was this. He says he has a question. He says, why do some deities, gods, angels, and archangels avoid him? What do you pick up off that? Like, I know you won't have an exact answer, but like, what resonates with you from that question?
I've watched your show quite a bit, Rob, and I know the Andromedan comes on quite frequently. And I know he has a lot of questions that are kind of similar to this. So what I would say to you, I don't know what his birth name was.
It's Mohammed. He's an Iraq refugee. His name is Mohammed, not Muhammad. Mohammed, Muhanned.
Okay. So, that culture that he grew up in is very connected to higher powers, let's just say. And if you grow up with abuse around you and you're traumatized and you believe that you're unworthy, then you're putting out this frequency that you're not deserving. right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think he has this issue of feeling a little inferior. Would that be correct? Because he's been on your show quite a bit, right?
He's not a guest. He's just a viewer. He's in the chat a lot. Yeah, he's in
But
the chat a
he's
lot.
in the chat a lot, and so I keep picking up this sense of he doesn't feel good enough to communicate with those higher vibrational frequencies. But what I would like to say to him is, if he could get over that self-deprecating feeling he's not good enough, right, and know that he's loved beyond measure, no matter what he's experienced or what somebody has made him believe about himself, he will be able to communicate and contact those higher vibrational frequencies, but he doesn't feel deserving enough. And if you don't feel deserving, guess what? You drop your frequency, you're going to be in that vibration, and it may be more challenging for you to experience that level of enlightenment or spiritual consciousness. And he has the capability to do this. He just doesn't believe that he does. So, whatever your traumas are, Andromedan, my suggestion, okay, would be to work with someone that can help you desensitize whatever those belief systems are that are causing the emotional energy stamps in your energy field that are making you believe that maybe you're not worthy or good enough to be able to connect with those other vibrational frequencies. We are all worthy. We are all sovereign beings. We were all created in the eyes of the creator energy. We're all from that love energy. But it's what's happened to us in not just this time period or other time places that stamped our energy field, that makes us believe we're not good enough, that we're not worthy, that we don't deserve love or to have happy lives, okay, and to experience joy. But you do. It's just maybe you're not, because of what's happened around you, that it stamped your energy field, that it's changed your belief systems. So remember what I said in previous, when I first started to come on the air here, thought, okay, what you manifest follows your belief system. But if your belief system up here stamps your energy field here, which is where your seat of emotions sit, right here on the bone, right? This is the trauma here in the frontal cortex. Here is the seat of emotions from the trauma. It stamps your energy field, and you've internalized it now, mentally, emotional, physically, and energetically. Your belief system is, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Why can't I communicate with these entities? But you can, but you just don't believe you can. So I would say find somebody that you can work with, that you trust, that can help you through those emotional, psychological blockages. We all have them, okay? None of us is in any kind of a lifetime experience where we haven't been taken advantage of, manipulated, abandoned, used, abused, whatever words you want to use, okay? That stamped our energy field, that makes us feel negative about ourselves. But once you elevate and transmute those blockages energetically, you won't be feeling this way any longer. And you can then fly as high as you want and deal with as many, beings that you want. And here's the other thing I want to say. Gods, angels, archangels, okay, they're not any better than we are. Did you hear me, Rob?
Yeah. I heard. Yeah.
They wanted you to hear that. They wanted you to hear that too.
They're just like us. They have flaws like us. Yeah, I agree. But
Well, I
yeah.
want you to understand, okay, that if it wasn't for human beings' emotions, okay, which they maybe don't have programmed into their systems the way we do, we are so powerful, and they know it. But they come around us, okay, to be here for us, to help us right, to serve us as our co-counterparts. Okay, they come with a purpose and a mission to help us. They're not any better than we are. Okay, so don't fall for that either, because a lot of people do, right?
Yeah.
They think, well, they're an angel and they're better than us. No, they're here to assist us. That's why they were created.
Yeah.
We are superior beings. We just forgot. Because why? Because of years of what? Propaganda, programming, subterfuge, abuse. Okay, so enough of that, Andromeda, and I hope that helped you.
Yeah, this was Renae. This was an amazing show. This was great. We went almost 2 hours. So I mean,
Cool.
I think it went really great. And I sent you a message. Send me your PayPal information because I want to definitely send you something. And then,
Okay.
Do you want to tell people how they can get your information and how they can book with you and all that stuff? And
okay, so what I usually tell a person is that why don't you try to DM me and FaceTime me? Okay, because that way I can see your profile, which helps me to know a little bit about you, right? It starts to form a connection. And then also you can contact me through, I don't do websites anymore. It's a lot of, it's a lot of time consuming that I don't have time for. But you can email me at my email. That's my name, RenaeNagle @yahoo.com. Whatever you put in the email, make sure you put your real name. Okay. And because I live with, ethics and HIPAA laws, I don't share anybody's personal information without any kind of release of information or permission. Okay. Anything you tell me is strictly confidential. And just to reassure you about that. So, and if you do contact me, give me a couple days to get back to you. If I don't answer you right away, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ghosting you. I just might be busy. So I usually say, give me about at least 48 to 72 hours. And by the way, a first name, an email, and if you'd like, you could leave a phone number. Okay. Sometimes once I connect with a person, they like to text, especially if you're like in the UK or Australia, and you need to get a hold of me because of the time constraints. I often have clients like in different parts of the world, so, when it's, 6 o'clock in Mexico, it's only, it could be 8 p.m. here, and so I could be asleep. Who knows, right? Anyway, so hopefully that helped. And, and I do take payments on things like Zelle, PayPal, Venmo. So I have different, ways for people to pay if they want to. And my books, book. It's a really long title, but it just starts out with EMDR therapy. It's 126 pages. I actually talk about hyperbaric oxygen therapy in here, along with EMDR and hypnosis and other things. And then my first book, it's called Healing Emotional Energy Stamps. This one's 300 pages, but it covers everything from neurology to biochemistry to color and light therapy, and all types of other energetic modalities. Okay, it's well researched too, by the way. And when my third book comes out, Rob, you'll be the first to know. Okay.
Yeah, we can do another show. And this was amazing. And
You're
guys,
welcome.
follow Dr. Renae and follow her on Facebook. And and thank you, Dr. Renae. It's always good seeing you. And I'd love to have you back on again. And I'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. I'm going to go make an instant coffee, and then I'll see you guys on the next stream. We're just going to start another stream with Chloe in like 5 minutes. All right. Thanks, Dr. Renae.